Okay, so we're starting the recording. This is the American Society of Dowsers Continuing Education and Dowsing Support teleconference. We hold this on the second Tuesday of every month. And then on the third Tuesday, we have Discover Dowsing. And Leroy Bull is going to be on next Tuesday. And he's going to talk about radionics. Now, Leroy does a lot of map dowsing. But in this case, he's talking about how to find people and objects using radionics. So that's his latest thing. And I thought it would be interesting for us to do that. And then in July, we're having Robert Egbeat talk about, he's the author of The Silent Killer Below on geopathic stress, which is fascinating. So I think you'll really enjoy it. I still don't see Gale on. All right. So tonight on Dowsing for Prosperity, we have Dick Tippett, and at some point, Gale will be able to get on. I don't know why she's having a problem.
646. Right, and the participant code is 443.
But while Dick is giving Gale the information, there was an article on thinking about prosperity that was on my blog on limitedpotentialhealingcenter.com. And prosperity is about a lot more than money. It starts with a mindset of appreciation and gratitude for what you have and the abundance everywhere in the world, and an openness. So in attracting anything, there has to be a openness to receive that can get blocked if there is a lot of fear. Dick, would you like to start off? You were going to talk about the importance of dowsing for need versus greed.
I'm in.
Oh, Gale, are you there?
I'm here.
Oh, great. Let me see, you're on 773. I don't see it yet. Okay.
Yeah.
There you are.
I have the wrong meeting ID.
Okay. Oh, but you blame your husband on that one.
We're good.
Yeah.
Okay.
We are. Yeah.
So sorry.
Okay. All right. So Gale wrote a book called Money Come Dance With Me, which is interesting. And I want everyone to stay on the call all the way through the end, because at the very end of the program, Gale is going to do a 10-minute meditation on clearing your money blocks. And Dick and I both think it's very good, and he especially has been raving about it. So I think it's well worth listening to the end. And then we'll take questions at the very end. So again, money starts with a mindset and being open to receive, but and that is the consciousness that allows you to be open to suggestions and ideas and to work on that bring you money. And then being excited and having the energy with what you're doing also helps to attract and bring things to you. Dick, would you like to start off and just mention a little bit about yourself and how you got into this and your work?
Oh, sure. My work is construction management of large projects of different types. And I got into dowsing about a dozen years ago out at ORI, where Harold McCoy was teaching for the first time. And I have used dowsing for years for cost estimating, for managing business meetings, because as we all know, everyone walks into a meeting with their own hidden agendas. And I found that if I could clear the hidden agendas before the meeting started, the meetings went much more quickly and we accomplished our purposes more easily. I married Karen Ashley a dozen years ago, and she was an absolutely brilliant face reader and a master dowser for healing, and taught me quite a bit. And we got into working with people energy more than anything else, and we backed into prosperity, not so much backed into prosperity, but we got so tired of hearing, you know, dowsers, you can't be prosperous and be a dowser. You can't be prosperous and you can't and be spiritual. And douse for greed, no, douse for need, never greed. So being a professional wordsmith, I figured I would go back up and look up some of the definitions of this and see if I couldn't clear up some of the incredible confusion and guilt that expression of douse for need, not greed, creates. So I went and I looked up greed, first of all. And the definition of greed is a selfish or excessive desire for more than is needed or deserved, especially of money, wealth, or other possessions. Avarice, rapacity, business, and basically the definition of greed postulates that we live in a zero-sum universe, you know, where if I have, I must have gotten it by taking it from you. And as dowsers, we know that that's absolutely not true, that there is no such thing as zero-sum, that if you want more of something, you simply go out and create it or find it. And that you're enjoying things does not take anything away from anybody else. So then I figured, okay, let's go look up need. Now that I've looked up greed, let's go look up need. And need has its root in Old English and Old German. And it essentially means desire or longing, you know, a requirement for something. So I looked at that. I said, it actually means, you know, douse for something that you have, desire and deserve. So then I looked up deserve. And deserve simply means to be worthy to have. And that led me to worthy. And worthy takes me back up to deserving again. Deserving, benefiting. So if we douse for something that we desire and deserve, what do we really desire and deserve? Well, I think a big part of that is life at more than a hand-to-mouth survival level. You know, we deserve and desire a nice home with nice furniture. We deserve more than just shelter from the rain and the weather and the heat. You know, we desire and deserve nice clothing. We desire and deserve, you know, friends to do things with, and we desire and deserve the right to go out and do things. We desire nice things.
Yeah.
We desire to be entertained, movies, theater, music, anything else that, you know, makes us happy. Because the universe is not about suffering and deprivation. It's about happiness. It's about contentment. It's about serving your fellow man. Well, all of which is done from the space of being content and being solid within yourself. And last but not least, and this is where I pass it to Grace, is it's about having money saved and money invested. It's about actually having wealth. You know, we are all entitled to be wealthy. And this is something Gale teaches so well. So Gale, I pass it to you.
Thank you. You know, it's interesting because one of the chapters in my book is called Dimensions of Wealth, and I talk about the different aspects of wealth. So you're talking about all these different things that is okay to have. So like, well, but one of the things I looked at is, you know, what was the origin of the word wealth? And it actually means well-being.
Yay.
Oh,
which
that's
is
wonderful.
Isn't that fascinating? And I thought,
Yeah.
so if we think about a commonwealth, that is a structure that is there for the well-being of its people. And so to think about wealth as well-being, financial well-being, economic, when I look at the dimensions of wealth, it's relationship wealth, it's environmental wealth, it's the ability to have leisure and creativity. That's a form of wealth. There's so many people that cannot relax. That's not wealthy. Not at all, you know. And so if we're looking at this idea, I love the way you say that, and we talked about this yesterday. So Dick and I had a conversation about that so many people have a part of them that they're afraid is greedy. And some of that has to do with is that as kids we're told, you know, you shouldn't want that. Why do you want that? We're disconnected from desire. And without desire, we would not be able to walk the path that we came on. Desire is the motivating force, but not desire as I want, but desire that comes from the heart, which to me is divine. That guides us to walk our soul path.
Okay,
Yes.
so both of you have two great points, and one is wealth is well-being. That totally reframes the whole idea of money.
And, is that great?
Yes, it does.
Absolutely. And the other thing about that Dick mentioned is how need versus greed becomes confused, or it people don't understand it correctly. When I had my first expensive office, and I had a commitment to make that, I was worried about meeting the financial requirements every month for that office. So I had to reason with myself because I had this issue with money. So I said, okay, I mean, I'm serving. This is a ministry. So if I'm doing my work as a ministry, then God is my boss. And doesn't God deserve a nice office? And by the way, doesn't he pay his employees well? So,
I love it.
Yeah. Okay. So go ahead, Gale. Continue, please.
Well, and that, you know, our greedy parts are actually parts that we put away in a closet. They're our shadow, but it's the parts of us that want. And so whenever you put something in a shadow, you put it away, it comes out in very dysfunctional ways. And if they could be its pure divine essence, it would connect us to desire, which we're going back is desire is divine.
Yes.
And unfortunately, so many religions have tried to disconnect us from desire. There's a difference between desire and attachment.
Yes. And it's
beautiful.
Yes, it's a huge difference because one is joy and appreciation, and the other is addiction.
Yeah.
Yes. And for me, how I got into money, a lot of my work comes from working in the Akashic Records of the divine essence of money. And maybe about 9 years ago, I was working on certification as a teacher and a consultant. And I started hearing work in the Akashic Records of businesses. And I thought, well, businesses, do they have records? And I heard everything has records. So I started opening up the soul of a business, people's businesses, and the soul of the person, and get very specific information about how the business wanted to grow and how they wanted to flourish and wanted to be in alignment with the owner's soul path. So then I thought, I wonder if money has records. And it definitely does. And what I found was that money is actually the expression of divine love in the marketplace.
Wow.
Yes, I've heard you say that before, and that is a wonderful concept. But Gale, you're saying that the people's businesses have a soul, a consciousness?
Yeah.
Maybe not soul, but a consciousness? A
consciousness, yeah. And I actually teach people how to talk to the consciousness of their business.
I love it. I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
So one day I got up every morning and started talking to money. And it's interesting, you're talking about investments, which is, you know, when we invest in something, we're actually allowing money to grow. We're giving money to another company, another dream that another person has. And we're saying, I'm giving you money to grow your money so that my money can grow.
Mm-hmm.
Money loves to be of service.
Mm-hmm.
That's brilliant.
So one day I heard the predominant matrix of humanity is domination and greed, and I have been aligned with that. And the new matrix of humanity is collaboration and generosity. I want to be aligned with that. Can you please help me? And it dawned on me that if in fact the pure divine essence of money is the expression of love in the marketplace, then all of the stuff that we feel about money is really our projection of our pain, the shadow of the human race. And so as long as spiritual people hold money in that old paradigm, they keep it stuck.
Mm-hmm.
They keep it stuck in that old place instead of saying, let me heal it. Let me be an expression for love. Let me be an expression for collaboration and generosity.
Yes, because money comes from service. If you provide service that people want and need, you are receiving money in exchange, and it is basically, as you say, money is an expression of love. You have given service to others as an expression of your caring for them, as of an expression of your caring for them. They give you back money in return as an expression of their caring for you.
Well, what I was also saying at the outset, and I wasn't saying it very well because I was shuffling through looking for Gale's phone number. But anyway.
I'm so sorry.
Well, I don't think it was your fault. But anyway, when we love what we're doing, that love is exactly what builds that building and business and draws people into us. So I can see how you say it's love in the marketplace.
Yes.
Well, also when we bring our gifts, our gifts are our divinity. Each person is giving unique gifts. That when we bring our gifts in that place that you're talking about, Roxanne, we are making love to the world. It's one of the biggest, it's the greatest act of self-love, and it's also one of the greatest acts of love to the world.
Mm-hmm.
That is so profound. That is so profound. Because I've been a service provider in my industry for 40 years, and I have watched others come in and go out, and those who stay are those who, exactly as you say, they love their business, they love their clients, they love what they do, and making money from it is almost coincidental.
Mm-hmm.
My God, I get to do all these wonderful things, and then they pay me on top of it. And those people survive and prosper for decades. But those who come in and see an opportunity to for the lack of a better word, skim profits quickly, have a life cycle measured in months.
Yeah, well, I think also people sense that they're about profit first and not service.
Yes, because we all generate energy. We all emanate energy. We are as visible psychically to everyone that we work with as the scenery that we look out the window at. And people sense this, and that is why, it's exactly as you say, Roxanne, that is why so many people who come into a business or a field strictly to make money do not survive.
Mm-hmm.
Well, money loves to be an agent for good.
Yes.
And if it's just for profit, you're not allowing it to express itself in a way that is from a place of love.
Exactly. And you are not expressing from a place of love. You're not expressing from a place of caring.
Right.
You have to give the universe back something that it wants and needs. And so long as you do that, prosperity follows.
Well, I think what we're talking about as far as profit first is really part of that old paradigm. And it used to be way back when that when companies came into being, that they had to show that they were going to give to the community. They were going to be a part of the well-being, coming back to wealth, of the community, and that changed when the guy that, I forget the guy's name, who won the Nobel Peace Prize, who said it doesn't matter, profit first.
Friedman.
Yeah, Aaron Friedman. And that totally changed us from a life economy to a death economy.
Well, there's also the stock. There was a quote that I saw recently on Facebook that somebody posted from a major pharmaceutical executive, and he said, "We're not in the business of making people well. We're in the business of making a profit." And that is the attitude that is driven by the stock market.
And that is the prevailing paradigm out there at the moment, and that is why there's so much chaos in the market, because
and the world,
and there's so much death and destruction of people, and it's entirely wrong, and it can't continue to survive, and it won't survive.
Well, I think there's getting a lot of pushback at this point. That, in other words, people who go that way can succeed for a period of time, or those companies can succeed for a period of time. But for the long haul, there has to, the people on the receiving end, the customers have to feel they're getting value, and that brings loyalty.
Yes.
Well, and also what's starting to change too, I mean, I tend to be an optimist, so I look for patterns that have shifted, and what is really, really changing in the marketplace is social impact investing. And so a lot of companies are now, they're rated depending upon their social impact, and people are pulling out of companies that are not socially viable, and they don't care about the people that they work for. Not everybody, but that is starting to change. It's really a shift.
Oh, I live in an agricultural area of California, and Monsanto is losing their grip on the vegetable market in California for the simple reason that organic farming is less expensive. It means perhaps 20% less per acre, but it produces food of higher quality. It produces food with love energy in it, as opposed to Monsanto's production of food through chemical processes, which the food contains a death energy. And Monsanto's losing its foothold out here constantly, yearly.
Well, that's exactly, Monsanto is exactly one of the places where there's pushback. A lot of companies and countries and cities are dropping their products. So,
right.
Gale, go back to how we start to heal our relationship with money.
Well, the first thing that I would love to do is have people, and then I think is have people do some dowsing just to get a base rate, and then Dick, you were going to do something around from clearing a need greed. Am I right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So the first thing I'm going to ask, I'm assuming that most of the people on the call are dowsers, and if you can, and you have access to a pendulum or some way that you get information, what I'm going to ask you to do is to check the percentage of alignment that you're holding of the divine essence of money. And typically what I do is I just go 0 to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 30, 30 to 40, 40 to 50%. And then when I get it swings, and then I'll count up. So we'll just give people, a few seconds to check that out. And I guess, we can do it ourselves.
Okay, so on a scale of 0 to 100, to what degree we're in alignment with having, making, holding on to money?
No, just the divine essence of money. So if you're those are different questions. So if I'm connected, if I have an alignment with money as divine, then I'm checking that.
Oh,
does that make sense?
Yeah, I
Yes.
just got a much higher reading.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So then we can also check to see what was the other one that we were talking about, Dick? So the divine essence of money is a different vibration than money itself. Money itself, as we know it, still holds some of the old paradigm. So
Yes.
you may want to check also to see what is your alignment with money, just money, period.
Yeah, that's where I got the lower reading.
Yeah, likewise.
Yeah. Isn't that interesting?
Yes.
Yeah, it is.
So what that says is both of you have done enough work on prosperity that you're not aligned with the old energy, but you're more aligned with money as divinity. Is that not cool or what?
Yes,
Yeah.
it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it is. Because one of the things.
Go ahead. One of the things, yeah.
I was going to say, one of the things that we taught was a variation of this is there are so many non-beneficial attitudes and beliefs about money.
Yeah.
You know, and make a list of them. Money doesn't grow on trees. Money's the root of all evil. You never have enough. If you want it, you're greedy.
Can't be spiritual.
There's not enough to go around. Yes, you can't be spiritual and be prosperous.
Yeah,
You know,
one person's
taking money is hard.
Right.
You know,
well, go ahead.
Take and make a list of all of these that occur to you as you're listening out there, and then douse the list and see which ones you douse yes on. And then once you've gone through that whole list, take each one, and the joy about working with a pendulum is when it's working counterclockwise, it neutralizes and scrambles energy. And when it's working in a clockwise directions, it strengthens energy. So you can take each one of the items on the list, and once if you have a yes on it, take that item and go, say, for example, money is the root of all evil. Please neutralize and scramble all of the energy regarding money being the root of all evil, and let your pendulum work counterclockwise until it drops into whatever your yes position is. And then take the energy, please take the energy, the neutralized and scrambled energy that we've just created, and transform it to the highest and most beneficial and most appropriate level so that money becomes the root of all good and beneficial things in my life.
Okay, we're going to repeat this. So you start with neutralize and scramble the belief that, and then they put in their negative belief.
Correct.
And then please take that neutralized energy and finish a sentence.
Yes.
And do what?
Transform it to the highest, most beneficial, and most appropriate level. Again, working with money, the root of all evil, so that money becomes the root of all good in my life. And let your pendulum work in a clockwise direction now until, again, it drops back into a yes position, and then you know that you have transformed that energy. Mm-hmm. And you can do that with every non-beneficial thought that you have about money or about prosperity, and that's how you clear them. Mm-hmm. And it may take more than one session because some of these are very deep-rooted.
Sure.
I grew up in a family where there's never enough money. So I grew up thinking there's never enough money, and no matter how much I made, it was never enough. And I had to clear that belief, and suddenly it became wonderful on how much less money I could live very happily on a year, and that I wasn't beating myself to pieces trying to produce money that I simply wasted.
So the other thing that they could, so if you're working with some of the beliefs, I'm working on a workshop I'm doing on clearing in the timeline.
Yes.
Is that if people can determine whether or not this is ancestral or if this is they're from their own lives. And you can also, some percentage of it can be ancestral. And then you can ask to go back, like how many generations
Yes.
on the timeline, and find the whether or not it's the mother or the father, and then go to the inception point of when that was anchored into, because all of this stuff gets stuck in the DNA of our, and that gets passed along. That's, that's a new science of epigenetics, which is pretty wild. And so that's what I'm saying. If you're having a hard time clearing what you're talking about, Dick, then look to see whether or not that you need to clear the ancestral energy, and also if there's something in your own energetic pattern from another life.
Those are two excellent points. Two excellent points that I hadn't thought of. Those are yes, not only ancestral, but your own energy from a previous life. Because in previous lives, you may have taken vows of poverty. You may have done something that made you feel so guilty that you just vowed you would never have money again yourself.
Okay, you know what? Well, how about if we ask people to check to see if they actually took a vow of poverty? Would that be interesting?
It would be.
So for those of you who are on the call, just ask, do I have a vow of poverty?
Well, it's not just do you have it, but how many times have you taken the vow of poverty? And I've taken it 8 times.
Wow.
You've taken it 8 times. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Too many lifetimes in monasteries.
Oh, honey. I hope you were having fun.
It's all right. I was a madam in New Orleans. I kind of made up for it.
Yeah, okay. So then, and also it's important to recognize that things can, because there is no time in the non-local reality, things can leak in from the future too. So you need to ask if it's actually coming in from a future life or it's actually from a past life.
Well, it's not only that, Gale, but whatever is in your consciousness now is being projected to meet you in the future when you get there. So you have to always not only clear all your lifetimes and your ancestors, but you also then have to go and clear the timeline going forward.
Right.
Yeah, I have a simple way of doing that, and that is simply, I apologize for not bringing it up as part of the other clearing, but it's please neutralize and scramble this energy across all dimensions and across all lifetimes.
I like that. All dimensions and all lifetimes. Nice wording.
Right.
And then ask that your files be updated.
Yes, very interesting.
Because in the records, you want to make sure that your files are updated. Also, the other thing that you want to add is that any imprints. So you can clear it, but there might be still energetic imprints. So you want to clear those too.
Yes.
That's very good.
Yes, clear Akashic records.
Yeah. So update your Akashic records in all time and space, levels, dimensions, realms, and bodies.
Yes.
Yes. And the other thing that happens is you can go to the inception point of where something was created, but then along the timeline there are anchor points. And so it's helpful to bundle the anchor points and also clear those. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Does that make sense?
What do you mean by an anchor point?
So let's say you had a trauma that happened, I don't know how many lifetimes ago, 10 lifetimes ago, and that trauma holds an energetic vibration of life is struggle. We'll just take that, because that's a common thing. So then there can be other lives that have that same energy of life is struggle that then anchor it even more into the field. Mm-hmm. So it ripples forward.
Okay, so an anchor point is an event where that thought is
reinforced.
Yeah.
Reinforced. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, got it.
So the anchor point is where the first time this event occurs in your lifetimes.
No, that's the inception point.
Also called the root cause.
Yeah.
So there's root cause and subsequent causes.
Right.
And what Gale's saying is that anchor point can be any of it, root cause or subsequent event.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Right. One of the things that I like is that I got from Marty Lucas, who's just brilliant, is that it's this idea of the inception point, but not just scrambling it, but also replacing it.
Yes,
so
that's
you can
neutralize and scramble and then replace.
Yes, and then replace. And what I like to do is replace it with kind of an anchor into the timeline that could be higher harmonic of gold. It could be the new energetic pattern. It could be what you were saying, Dick, which is the new empowering paradigm that you're anchoring in.
Yeah.
And you can have a symbol of that. Marty likes to use the teddy bear because it doesn't have a whole lot of angst to it. But I like to use a light crystal that I like to anchor in myself.
Oh, that's whatever works. Whatever thought works.
Yeah, right.
Anchor it in. Talk more about anchoring in, please.
Well, you know what? You can anchor on your body as well. So
yeah.
anytime, any kind of thought or feeling, and to do that, let's say somebody is dowsing while they're doing this, they can make a gesture or touch. So let's say they're spinning the pendulum with their right hand, they can press two of their fingers together with their left hand.
Mm-hmm.
Or they can press on a knee or a place on their body where they can get to that exact place. And once I want to be reminded of that, they have to just press on that point to call up
the new energy.
Yeah. So
yeah.
Here's how and you can anchor it with objects. So here's how you anchor with an object. When I was doing this with prosperity, I had a friend who was had no problem with thinking prosperously, but I was a tightwad. So she came with me somewhere and wanted to go into this jewelry store. And while she's busy, I'm just looking around and I see this amethyst ring, and she comes over and said, "Oh, that's beautiful. You should buy it." And then she kept saying, "You should really buy it. You should buy it." Okay, so I walked out of the store with this ring thinking, okay, how am I going to get the rest of the money I need for the month? And so I decided to make my ring my prosperity affirmation.
Oh, I love it.
That every time I see, wear, or touch this ring, it reminds me I can have anything I want to have.
I love it.
Yeah, I love it.
So that just wearing that ring and touching it or feeling it or thinking about it called up the positive affirmation.
Mm-hmm.
It helps.
Yes. God, I hope everybody heard that.
Well, I think what we're talking about is, in manifesting is belief, desire. We're talking about desire again, Dick, and expectancy. And one of the things I'd like to have people do is to douse how in alignment. This is interesting. Is that when I was putting something together, it's like there's a difference between desire and heart's desire. So you can be in alignment with desire and very low in alignment with heart's desire if you're really disconnected.
Right.
But I think what you're saying is by looking at this ring, it activated expectancy.
Yeah.
And belief.
Yeah, and it did. And so I had my money actually went up after that.
Yes, of course, because you had done something positive.
I gave myself permission to receive.
Yes.
And so wearing beautiful things can do that too. Putting on whatever you have, if it's a perfume, a nice dress, a scarf, putting out the good china, it gives a feeling of richness, of wealth, of beauty, of deserving, that you're good enough to use the good china for yourself.
Yes.
So we're changing the mindset, the consciousness.
Yeah. That's fascinating because that was something actually I learned from my mother. Is the good silver is not for the future. Use the silver now. So I do.
Can I share a quote from my talk with money, my communication with money? So this is fascinating because you're talking about receiving, and receiving is the biggest issue because most of us are blocking our receiving channels. So money started talking about a transceiver. Well, I didn't even know a transceiver existed, but it comes from the ham radio, which is
right.
It's something that sends and receives signals. So this is what I heard one day: is you must become aware of your transceiver. All of creation is constantly sending and receiving, but most humans are not conscious that they create their lives in each moment, but by what they are sending, and this is key, and what they are able to receive.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
You must become aware of what you are sending and receiving. This is the key to true power.
Mm.
Yes. And so for most people, their receiving channels are really blocked, and we don't realize that, you know, this is the garden of earthly delights. We have senses that allow us to taste, to feel, to touch, to all of the things that allow us to take in the beauty of being in a body.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
This is a gift from the divine, and money wants to be aligned with supporting us to be in joy and delight.
Yes, because God did not mean us to suffer.
No, that's the old paradigm.
Money is not about. Money leads to joy.
Yes, money wants only joy and delight. That was my big takeaway from all my talk with money: is joy and delight. Joy. Open your receiving channels. This is about bringing in joy. Bring in joy. And I'm like, okay, I got it. But it's been a process because most of us who walk a spiritual journey think that that's not okay. We're supposed to suffer. That's the old paradigm you're talking about, Dick. Like,
I can't make a living from my dowsing. I have to give it away.
Right. Which is really dishonoring of the gifts that we bring.
Yes, it is. Roxanne, should we do that meditation now or take a couple of minutes of questions, or how do you want to play it?
I want to see if any, we still have a little bit of time, so if you want to continue with some other points that you want to hit, please do.
I'm curious to see, so Dick, did you have a process around need and greed that you were going to share?
I have a book worth of them, and for anyone who will send me their email address, I will send you the book because it's a 3-hour session.
Oh.
What I really
you're talking about your workbook?
Yeah, what I really want to talk about is the fact that our goal here is to put you in touch with the reality that you are already prosperous and that you already create things for your benefit and your joy. And keep on doing it, guys. Don't. And when you come into a situation, remember that you can't create from need. You can't create from desperation because you can only create from a blank canvas. So the trick is to come in to your need, to the point at which you want to create something, remembering that you have the ability, you've done it before many times, and sit down and begin with a blank canvas, begin with an open mind, begin with no feeling of lack, with no feeling of need, but with a feeling of curiosity, of joy, of I wonder what will happen once I create this. And sit down with that blank canvas in front of you, and then create from there. Because you have done it so many times before. And our goal here, my goal here, is simply to take you back to that point where you knew what you wanted once before, and joyously you created it from nothing, because that's what you create from, is from nothing. And remember that you did that, and then apply that same thing to money, to your job, to new friends that you want, to anything that you desire. and to come at it from the point of view of, I wonder what will happen if, I do this and such, without a desperation of need, of lack. Because if you come from the point of view of need or lack, your canvas is already filled in with that which you believe you don't have.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why you come at it from a recollection of having done it before in other things with a blank canvas in front of you, and now start to paint.
There's an urban planner, Rouse, James Rouse, and he did South Street Seaport and the old section in Philadelphia, and
wow.
I believe he did Haymarket Square, and he liked to he approached it by something that was an interesting project. What would be fun? What would be interesting? And so he would start his the curiosity, the love, the joy, the playing aspect,
Mm-hmm.
the
Yes.
playing aspect, because or the challenge. This would be fun. This would be interesting. This is a great challenge. Gee, I wonder if I could do this. Gee, I wonder if we could clean up the oceans. How would we do that? And all of those things will start to generate ideas, and then money comes as a result of that. Gale, do you have something you want to add on that?
Yeah, one of the things that I recommend people do is to, at the end of the day, just ask themselves, in what way was my day rich?
Oh.
Yes.
Because when you start from that place of noticing, and typically it's the qualities, like it was rich with connection, it was rich with beauty, it was rich with comfort, it was rich with, so when we kind of honor the riches and the wealth and the well-being we already have, we feed that. And that's another thing that Money was talking about. Gather all the places of joy that are already in your life and almost like create a container. And the more that we focus on that, the more that we feed it.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Always.
So, go ahead.
Yeah, always focus on the positive. Always focus on what you have accomplished, on what you have done that was positive, that was beneficial, the new friend, the new gift, the new client who really appreciated what you were doing. Don't ever look back at the things that were non-beneficial, that were detrimental to you, that were unpleasant. Because those, we are taught to by society, because we're surrounded by this horrible news cycle and by 30 to 60-minute soap operas all the time that emphasize the negative. Turn off your TV. Focus on the positive. Remember all the good things that you did and that the people around you have done. And from that, your prosperity multiplies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and money loves to step into that. The other thing that I recommend, I'm like really into blessings these days. Blessings and gratitude. So
yes.
when you have gratitude for something, you're noticing and you're saying thank you.
Yes.
But when you bless something, you actually charge it with energy. So the more that you bless yourself, you bless your gifts, you bless your money, you bless all the things that are in your life, according to the Kabbalistic rabbi, it's as if you look into, when you bless a person, it's as if you look into their soul and you invite their soul's path to come forward. So anytime we bless anything, it's as if we invite its pure potential to be manifest.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and not only bless, but again, to gratitude. Be grateful for everything that you've got. I mean, sometimes people deliver things that are horrible lessons to you. You know, I joke about, oh my God, not another opportunity for growth. But the truth is, it is an opportunity for growth. And bless those people who put that opportunity in front of you.
Gale, would you like to do the meditation now?
I would love to.
Yay.
So this meditation has three parts. So we're talking about gratitude. So the first part is I'm going to kind of guide you to things in your life, and you're going to notice all the people, I mean, we don't recognize, if I'm looking at my computer, many, 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 many people brought their gifts and their love to the marketplace, so that is sitting on my desk. And so we begin to recognize all the people that your money actually touched that you will never know. So that's the first part. The second part is, actually it's 4 parts, is apologizing to money for any way that you blamed it for what wasn't working in your life. The third part is allowing, remember earlier I was saying that money's been stuck in this old paradigm of domination and greed. So we're going to actually imagine bathing money in light, and asking it to be healed of all the old paradigm that it's holding, so that it can truly be its pure divine potential. And the last part, I'm going to invite money as source, personal source for you to come and reveal itself, because I truly believe each one of us can have a personal connection to money as guide and friend.
Okay.
So that's it. Okay. And if you want to have this, you can download it from my website, so which I think they have. Okay. So just allowing yourself to go inside and taking a deep breath and hold it. Let go and relax. Taking another deep breath. Hold it. Let go and relax. And now bring your attention to your phone, or if you are on the computer being on this call, and feel into all the people that went to make this phone or computer in your hands or in your house. The people that designed it, the people that created it, all the materials that went to make this happen, the people that transported it, the people that sold it. And thank money and all the people that your money touched, so that you have access to this call this evening. And if you're sitting now, feel into the chair that you're sitting on, the comfort that it allows you. And think about the people that designed it and created it, the materials, and transported it and sold it, so that it could be here for you to have comfort. And thank money and all the people that your money touched. And your internet network and your phone network and all the beautiful things that allow you to connect to the world. And thank money and all the people that your money touched. And so if you're in your home, look around your home. If you are not connecting to the clothing that you're wearing, look at the things that you have that you love, that bring you comfort, that bring joy to your life. And thank money and all the people that your money touched. And now apologize to money for any way that you blamed it, that you pushed it away, that you didn't allow it to come into your life, that you didn't use it wisely. And ask money to forgive you, forgive yourself. And now imagine that you're bathing money in light, and the both of you are standing under a waterfall of golden, beautiful light. And all the pain that you hold from yourself, from your lives, from your ancestors around money, is being washed away, and all the pain and sorrow and suffering that has been projected onto money is being cleansed. A beautiful golden light, allowing money to step into the new paradigm of collaboration and generosity. Feeling the healing that you are having that is now extending into the collective. Allowing this healing to now move across and ripple around the whole earth. Inviting a new paradigm for money, for yourself, and for your children, if you have them, and for the world. That money truly can now be an agent for divine love in the marketplace. And taking a deep breath, and feeling into this healing, this cleansing, and invite money now to appear to you, your own personal money as source, money as guide, money as friend, to be with you now. Allow yourself to either feel a presence, a symbol, an angel. Let yourself feel into that you can now have a personal relationship with money as guide and friend. And you have a few moments to just connect with money and ask money how to now change your relationship so that you can come together and be guided and allow money to now express itself fully into your life. And I will come back in 30 seconds to guide you out. And now ask money how to continue this relationship and make a commitment within the next 24 to 48 hours that you will reconnect to money from this place of healing and with money as your guide and friend. And so now just allow yourself to take a deep breath, open your eyes, and come back to normal consciousness.
Thank you. Well, we are going to be opening the phone lines. So as people want to ask Gale or Dick a question or make a comment, you hit *6 to be heard, and then start speaking. So if there's anyone there that has a question, hit *6 to speak, and then as soon as we hear you, we'll let you know. So who has a question or a comment for Gale or Dick?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
You mentioned several times that Gale has an email address, and so does Dick. So can you give those to us, because it wasn't in the documentation?
Oh, sure. Mine is Gale, Gale, at sacredmoneymastery.com. And a version of that meditation is on my website with my friend who's a 3-time Grammy winner, with the music in the background.
Ooh, nice.
Can you say that just one more time, please?
Gale, Gale, at sacredmoneymastery.com.
If you forget it, it was in the PDF that was in the email. And if you didn't get the email, you could go to my website also, which is my blog, Unlimited Potential Healing Center. And the article is Thinking About Money, and it has Gale's information there. And Dick, did you, but Dick does not. So Dick, would you like to give your contact information?
Oh, absolutely. My email is rtippett@urtechinc.com, and that is RTIPPETT, rtippett, like tip it over and pour it out, at ERTECHINC.com, urtechinc.com. And if for some reason you missed that, just Google ERTECH, ERTECH, and that'll take you to my website. There's myself and an Australian company. They're much bigger than I am.
Does anyone else have a question?
Yes, Roxanne, this is Johnny. I would have a question, or I guess, or maybe even a comment. For me, making money has never really been much of an issue because I've always been able to do it from the time I was in kindergarten. Now that I do a lot of work with other people, and even some homeless guy on the street, you know, and they'll say, well, how do I do that now? And I always tell people, you know, what are you willing to give the universe for everything it will give you? And when you're dealing with people sometimes who say maybe on fixed income and those kind of things, how do you help people when they don't even know if they have skills to give to the universe?
You sit down and dialogue with them. Remember the story of Stone Soup?
Yes.
Where somebody has a carrot, somebody has a bone, and it's something. There's a lot of communities that have work sharing, and some people walk dogs, or they'll do errands for someone. They answer phone. They'll sit with a baby while somebody goes out and runs something. Everybody can do something. And interesting, there was a psychiatric study in Boston for mentally ill people, and where they made the inmates, the people in the mental institution, do some work, whether it was making their bed or sweeping the floor, those people got better faster. Responsibility is healing.
Well, can I share something? I think some of it is that, you know, a lot of people have a lot of trauma that they come with, and people who are in those situations, oftentimes their expectations for what's available for them is very, very low. So you almost have to really work with doing that healing first, so that they can see themselves as being able to have more. And the other thing that I truly believe that many people choose to come in. I mean, this might sound weird, but the other day there was a homeless woman on the street who, because I've been, as I said earlier, really about blessings, and she came up to me and she said, "Would you bless me?" And I was like, "What?" And then I looked at her and I said, "Oh, yes, I will bless you. So, because by blessing you, I'm inviting you to be your true potential." And I looked at her, the energy that was coming out of her eyes was as an angel. And I gave her some money. She turned the corner and I went and looked, and the woman had disappeared.
Interesting.
And it felt to me like she was a gift from the divine telling me to really think about blessings. And the other thing is that people that are in those situations are an invitation for us to open our hearts to be more generous.
There's nothing I can add to what you just said.
I don't know if that's helpful for this person.
The other thing is, I mean, there's been like barbers or hair people or people that bring clothing or haircuts into the homeless community, and somehow when they put on the clothing of that represents something better than what they had, it changes their consciousness.
Right.
Yeah,
it's true.
Yeah.
You know, and also years ago, I used to be in social services, and I was helping the churches with the pantry. And one woman came in, and she was dressed really beautifully, and one of the church ladies came over to me, and she said, "I thought you had to be poor to get food." I said, "Well, you know, you do. You know, I've checked everyone's income." And she goes, "Well, what about that person? She doesn't look poor." So I said, "Well, what does poor look like?"
Exactly. And I'm involved in homeless projects here in Santa Cruz, which has got to be the capital of the homeless world. And there is so much that they are willing to do and so much that they are willing to contribute, even if it's just washing a floor or putting things away after a church coffee or setting out plates for a church dinner. You know, they want to be included. They want to be part of the family.
And I think what you're saying is true. And unfortunately, we don't recognize that in the giving is receiving and in the receiving is giving. And
yes.
Unfortunately, what happens for people, those of us who go to give, we are actually receiving from them. And unfortunately, what happens is the people that are doing the receiving don't recognize are getting what they are actually giving back to us.
Yeah.
And so there's a disconnect that happens.
Yeah.
That's why I love working with clients.
Yeah, they want to give back in a way that they recognize as giving back.
Yes, that gives them dignity.
Yes. Yes.
Are there any other questions? Does anyone have a question?
I'm curious if anybody had a guide that showed up, a money guide.
Oh, yes.
Did you?
Yes, I did.
Oh, cool. What's...
She is a tall, willowy, green woman.
Oh, cool. Wow.
She's green woman?
Awesome.
Yes.
Oh, like the female version of Jolly Green Giant?
More like green, very willowy. Green Tara comes to mind. A wood spirit. In Tara's case, it's a little different, but this was very definitely a wood sprite. They are very tall. They're very willowy.
Mm-hmm.
I never got a picture of her head, but she was very there and willing to be in a working relationship with me.
Cool. Yeah. Well, continue, because they come. Everybody has, like, my partner Mark's is a green Betty Boop. That tells them to lighten up. And mine is this big horse that says, "Get on up, let's go ride."
Oh, that's fun. That's fun.
Yeah.
And what I found is that for people, their guides come in the form that they need. I have another friend of mine whose money guide is this Sammy Davis Jr. character in a Gola May suit, and she talks to him every day, and he guides her.
I love it. Love it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Well, there was like Gene Slater that we had on in January was talking about creating a spiritual committee, and you could create a spiritual committee also for prosperity and fun and joy and
yes.
Yeah, that's one of the things I teach elsewhere is finding your spirit guide. We take people through a blue tunnel, and they find their spirit guides on the other side, and then we talk about how to make best use of them, how to relate to them, and how you can go back and meet them anytime. Yes, that's wonderful stuff.
Yeah, you can create. I love Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich. It's the chapter called Sixth Sense, where he talks about creating a boardroom of advisors.
Right.
No, I did read the book.
And invite money to be on your advisory board.
Ah, good.
I like that.
Yeah. It's an NLP technique.
Yes.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
Yes.
But having money as your that's a new twist. Okay, good.
Yes.
All right. Are there any other comments or questions?
Yes.
Anybody?
Yes.
Go ahead.
In the meditation that we just did, the last thing, and I didn't get the whole thing, invite money as, and I didn't get what we were inviting money at that.
Invite money as your personal guide and friend to come and source, to come and be with you and show him or herself to you.
Thank you so much.
So if you go on my website, a similar meditation's down there and you can download it.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other comments or questions? Does anyone have something to add to what we were talking about?
I think we overwhelmed them, Roxanne.
Well, yeah.
This was fun.
We had a great good time. Yes,
It
this
is
was
fun.
fun. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, just as prosperity should be.
Right.
Yes, joy and delight. Those are my
Yes.
favorite words.
Right. So
Yes.
you can listen to Gale on some of the recordings also that are available at ASD. If you go to store and on conferences, her name will come up in different ones. Where did you talk about prosperity last, Gale?
At the conference. So 3 years ago, I did one on money. And then I think the year before last, it was on manifesting with ease and grace. And then the year before, last year, I did one on clearing energy patterns in chakras relating to money.
Good.
Very nice. And you're speaking this year too, aren't you?
I am, and this is on clearing energy in the timeline. So that's why I was like bringing up the timeline thing, because I've been going really, really deeply into the timeline. It's been so much fun.
You know, I have another idea, and that's the Ho'oponopono. So let's say, I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, thank you. So I'm sorry, money, for how I've haven't allowed you into my life. Please forgive me. I love, you know, you can go on to that, and then thank you for correcting any errors in my consciousness, so that I can enjoy you more as a happy presence, or I don't know, that you could play with it.
You know, it's funny you say that, because I was just telling a client last week who was telling me he was doing Ho'oponopono. I said, okay, well, do Ho'oponopono for money and do Ho'oponopono for your business. Apologize to your business of how you haven't shown up. So I love that you brought this up here, because it's like, yeah, you can do Ho'oponopono for all these things, which is really lovely.
Wow.
Okay, so what we're going to do now is end. And I thank everyone for being on the call. This will be recorded and will be available to listen to hopefully tomorrow on the members section. So you have to be a member of ASD and go, there's a section where you will find members section. If you can't figure out, you can call up headquarters, and Lisa is very helpful. There are a lot of other recordings there that you might find of interest. So I want to thank you, Gale, very much for being on. Again, it's sacredmoney.net. Is that right?
No, sacredmoneymastery.com.
Okay, thank you.
Roxanne?
Yeah.
Can you send out some kind of PDF or what, I forget what you call it, from Richard Feather? You said you were going to email that out to the group.
I did.
Yes, you did.
Oh, okay.
That look, just send me an email at Roxanne Louise, the number 2 at gmail.com, write Dowsing in the cover, or if you forget that, write Roxanne Louise at verizon.net and put Feather in the subject line, and I'll be sure to send it.
Thank you so much, Roxanne, and thank you, Dick. This was just lovely to collaborate generously together.
It was fun.
Yes, it was.
Yes.
And Roxanne, tell Elizabeth, thank you very much.
Oh, you're quite welcome. Okay, so I'm going to say good night all, and tune in next week for Leroy Bull on radionics to find missing persons and objects.
Oh, wow.
That should be good. And Richard Feather Anderson is coming back, by the way, in August to talk about sighting a labyrinth. Okay.
Good.
So,
Gail, thank you so much. This was fun. Roxanne,
okay.
thank you.
Okay.
Thank
good
you.
night,
Thank
all.
you.
Thanks.
Good night.
Good night.